I'm just deadly serious. Now, I've been having ridiculous fun. I'm admitting the ridiculous part on the Garage Logic Service Road of Life, and I would like us all, please, get your tinfoil hats on.
All right,
put them on.
Do this.
Put them on.
Chris's show, man.
Put them on. Everybody's got their tinfoil hat on.
This is actually my Jordan Albin baseball.
We'll start with this statement. I think what we've learned just in the last 2 weeks, or let's make it the last month, I think we've learned since Biden dropped out just how much American citizens don't know about their own government and how it functions. We have been kept in the dark.
Yes.
I see you have your hat on. That's good. Let's start with yesterday. And the Texas Rangers appeared at the White House as World Series champs, because that's what championship teams do now. They include a stop at the White House.
Was the president aware of this?
The president seemed unaware of what, and I'm not making this up.
No, you're not.
He had to be reminded by an MC to leave the celebration, which he did, but he saluted when he left. He was on stage, but had some confusion as to what he was supposed to do, and in fact said, "All right, what am I doing now?" Biden said. And a military aide approached Biden to collect the gifts that he was received. I suppose he got a Rangers jersey and a bat and ball and what have you. And the president joked to the military aide, "Are you stealing my jersey?" See, but the aide just wanted to carry it for him. And then Biden stood awkwardly around looking for direction, at one point raising both hands in an apparent questioning gesture, indicating he had no idea what he was supposed to do. And his uncertainty was resolved as an MC said, "Distinguished guests, please remain in your seats as the president departs." They were trying to tell him, you're supposed to leave now. But he saw two young kids in the front row, and he gave them a salute. And then he saluted the team. And then someone helped him leave the stage.
I believe he also said that he remembers closing out Game 6 for the Rangers.
So let's start with that. So I think among the things we've learned in the last month is we really don't know who is running the country. We don't.
Yeah, he is not running the country.
Now imagine this. Every day, the most secure document in the country is delivered to the president. It's called the Presidential Daily Briefing.
Yes.
And it's full of the uppermost classified information. What's going on in Iran, what's going on with nuclear warheads, what's going on everywhere in the world. This is for his eyes only, and the people, his top people that he surrounds himself with. Now, you can't tell me that he's expected to understand that presidential daily briefing.
Do you think they give him
We're not even at the tinfoil hat part yet. This is just setting it up.
But do you think they give him the shorter version, like the presidential address for dummies?
The Cliff Notes.
The Cliff Notes, yeah.
I'm sure they give it to him, but they're making sure that whoever's running the country also has one. But I continue to think, for lack of imagination, I guess, I continue to think it's Biden. I'm sorry, Obama. Because I can't come up with anybody else. It's Ben Harris, which seems to me unlikely. I don't think that the team would have trusted Harris to be president, but the team might have trusted Obama to be president. But my point is, it's further corroboration that we don't know anything. We really don't know what's happening. We really don't. Now let's turn to Walz. All right. Walz, it turns out, according to the Wall Street Journal and other sources, essentially has not much of a net worth. And according to the Wall Street Journal and other sources, he doesn't own property. He doesn't own a house.
Really?
Yep. And he has no investments other than his many, many pensions, one of which would prove to be very beneficial. I can't remember which one. Maybe it's his congressional pension. But he has been living off the public for a long time. Well, let's just cut him some slack. He's been living off the public at least since he's been governor. You'll remember that we had the kerfuffle about him getting installed in a rental house on Sunfish Lake, and yet they groused about the carpeting. That would have required an expenditure to fix the carpeting, and then a lot of people complained, and he ended up, I think it was $17,000 a month to rent the place in Sunfish Lake.
He's 60 years old, Joe, and he doesn't own any property.
He doesn't own a house. This is according to sources that are.
Has he ever?
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he has.
I believe he did in Mankato.
But remember, you
as a
have your
teacher.
tinfoil hats on now because I haven't gotten to the good
Well,
part yet.
as long as he at one time owned some sort of real estate. Just ease my mind with that. Just tell me that. I'll believe it.
I would imagine that in Mankato, where the kids were born and raised for a bit before he moved to
Because he taught at West
Minnesota,
for a while, did he
I'm
not?
sure they must have had a house. That wouldn't surprise me, but certainly currently he owns nothing. So, and in terms of his personal wealth, he doesn't seem to have a great deal compared to, say, J.D. Vance. That was the comparison.
Well, that makes him one of us, Joe, actually.
Now, and we do know that he honeymooned in China. Remember Bernie Sanders honeymooned in Russia. And we're now learning, and again, this is Wall Street Journal, that Walz has great ties with China. This is today's Wall Street Journal. Governor has China ties as well as wariness. The Western world recoiled from China in 1989 after its Tiananmen Square massacre of student activists. Walz followed through with the plan to teach in the country. After graduating from Nebraska's Chadron State College that year, Walz, then 25 years old, went to teach English and American history to high school kids in Foshan, a city in China's southern Guangdong province, as part of a year-long Harvard University program blessed by Washington. He described the experience as humbling and formative, saying, and it was the first of 30 visits Walz has made to China as an educator, businessman, and politician that took him to all the corners of the country and has given him insight into America's relationship with China. As I always say, I'm about one trip away from knowing nothing about China, Walz told a congressional panel in 2016. It feels like it's complex and it's difficult. What if Walz?
Oh, here we go.
Well, I'm already agreeing with you. I know what you're going to say.
Yes.
Hell yes. Yes.
What if Walz is a Chinese agent?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Welcome to the team, Sir.
Now, stay with me. Stay with me. Has any member of what we would call conventional news gathering, has any member bothered to go to the small town in Nebraska where he was supposedly raised and talk to the people on Main Street? Has anybody gone and said, hey, what was Tim like? Has anybody ever heard an interview with any of his siblings? Apparently he has siblings, apparently all of whom are teachers. Is anyone aware of Walz's siblings? He has siblings, according to everything I can find. Has anyone heard of them or talked to them?
I don't believe
Has anyone ever been to the town in Nebraska where he grew up? Does anyone know anything about his parents other than they were also in the failed academy? He has no home. He has no property. He doesn't appear to be worried about finances. He's been to China 30 times. He honeymooned there. He is married to a woman who was thrilled that Minneapolis was burning.
I love where this is going.
We didn't know any of this 1 month ago. Maybe even 2 weeks ago, we didn't know any of this.
Beginning of the week.
And it's such
5 days ago.
It's almost a cliche the way he's being sold. He's being sold as a folksy country bumpkin who's America's dad.
Everywhere.
And that's something that the Chinese might have been fond of setting him up to be. That'll fool them, they think. Your role, Tim, will to be rise as far as you can in America's politics and keep us obviously in the loop on a daily basis. And he went to, I told you before, I started this by saying it's ridiculous, but maybe not.
Can I help explain?
No, let him finish. I want to.
Oh.
What?
He has issued, as a congressman, he said things that indicated he was supposedly wary about China. But I'm sure that would have been part of the orders.
Sure.
That you occasionally must reflect poorly on us to keep up the ruse that you're not one of us.
Throw off the scent, yeah.
Throw off the scent, and for example,
Psyops.
For example, he said, "Well, their human rights situation is getting worse, not better." He said in Congress in 2016, he cited the non-government organizations, Catholics and other religious groups and lawyers, and has expressed concern about China's treatment of its people in Hong Kong. He could have been told, Tim, it's time that you come up with something like that.
He was saying things that we want to hear at that point.
Yes.
That's what we expect to hear.
When the China virus took over the nation and the world, weren't we one of the first states to really lock down?
No, yes. And Tim's instruction from his minders was, see how much you can get away with.
I love that link, Reavers.
Create a snitch line.
See how much you can get away with. See if you can close businesses. See if you can create a snitch line. See if you can create a mask mandate.
If they open up their businesses, you get your attorney general to sue them.
And given his minders' disregard for the human condition, they might have told him, see how many old people you can get rid of.
Yes.
Okay. Number one, it takes a lot of balls to bring up this kind of insanity. That is an absolute insane idea, Such. Number two, it's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Without question. He's been groomed his entire career.
Honest to God, it's creeping me out. I've read too many Nelson DeVille novels.
Oh my God, he's not even a sleeper, Joe. He's active. He was a sleeper when he was teaching high school.
What's the DeMille book, John? If you give me the titles, I'll know the title. What's the title of the DeMille book where the plot was Russians sent people here ostensibly to become ordinary Americans and lead?
Oh, I read that one
American
too.
Lives, yeah.
I read that DeMille book too, and it's just like that. Only he's not a sleeper.
The Charm School.
The Charm School. Thank you. The Charm School.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Walz, for example, has zero skin in the American game. No skin in the game.
Other than to continue to
Other than
collect
some pensions.
Yeah.
That's it. He has no skin in the game. He has no property. He doesn't have a lawn to mow. He has no investments. He supposedly has some wreck of a car he pretends to tinker with. He has
Scout.
Yeah, he has no skin in the game. None.
You asked earlier.
That's all cover. That Scout is a cover to make him look like one of us.
You
Of course
said
it is.
we've only just learned about this a couple of weeks ago. Why did none of this surface when he was just the governor.
Reporting isn't what it used to be.
That's where I'm going, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
This hard-hitting interview with the governor just surfaced this morning. I believe this is from 5 years ago, where he was grilled, I say, on the show Almanac.
Prefer for a snack, a muffin or a donut?
Muffin.
Okay, question number 7. This leads into it. If someone brings some muffins to the office and there is one muffin left, Governor, you are the chief executive of the state of Minnesota, arguably one of the most powerful people amongst 5 million of your peers. Governor, do you cut the muffin in half or do you take the dang muffin?
Muffin top.
Just the top? I didn't anticipate that answer.
Stop that. That's the way we've treated him.
That's why he'll never be on GL. Even at the fair where we goof off.
Yeah, because I think my first question would be, are you a secret agent of the Chinese?
That'd be a way to get him in.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome, Governor. When are you going back to China?
It's like when Scott, Dr. Scott came on, didn't you blindside him right away with something?
Yeah.
What was it you brought up again? You got to drop.
You got to drop this cat litter in the schools BS. It's driving people crazy.
You also no. I thought you said something about the barefoot in the kitchen.
Well,
That was supposed to Burke.
Oh, to Burke. I'm sorry. You're right.
And Burke, you got to get off this barefoot in the kitchen BS. That ain't going to sell.
It's not going to help you.
No. Back to the tinfoil hat. What makes it more fun, I'm not even going to say plausible, because of course I'm having fun. Although go back to the opening statement of the show. We don't know anything. We don't know a damn thing. We don't even know who currently is running the United States. We don't know that.
What if, in all seriousness, what if it has been Kamala this entire time?
What if it's been the Chinese?
Oh, God, I love technology. I love tinfoil hat corner.
We don't know you'd almost have to have the Chinese running the company in order for Walz to install tampons in male bathrooms. It would almost require a Chinese creativity to come up with that one.
Because they don't need to start a war with us.
You don't need to start a war.
Nope.
With Biden, I don't think it's any one person. I think it's just a staff. It's just a committee, a bunch of people that are there.
Well,
people are running it.
You think what you want to think. I think I don't know anything.
Yeah. See, everybody gets their own tinfoil hat theory about
when it comes to Biden and who's running things, think of it as GL. Joe's the mayor. He's in charge. But is he really? I mean, come on. He's got a staff of 4 people that are actually doing all the work.
Really?
While he saunters in 5 minutes before broadcast.
Really? That's the way it works.
And then says, hurry up, because I got a tea time. And I think the insiders, the council members know who's really doing the show. And it's Chris and Matthew and Kenny and John.
And I think his minders did not want him involved in warfare in Iraq when his unit left. I think that he had become. They saw his ascendancy, and he had become valuable enough to them that they couldn't risk him dying in warfare.
Sure,
in Iraq.
Okay. Let's just pause and talk about that for a second. I sent you an email early this morning, didn't I? About that topic?
Yes.
I think you and I may have got it wrong, not on purpose. I think it's our perspective. We've never been in the service. We don't truly, honestly know what that is like. So when you tell us that he left and he didn't break any laws or rules and he did it okay and he was eligible, that to us is good enough, but it's not good enough for his fellow soldiers.
Correct.
I think we need to acknowledge that and respect that. If you're a soldier fighting and you're in the reserves like he was, and you're about to be called up, I think we deserve to talk to those people and respect their opinion of Walz. Really do.
Well, I really have cut Walz a lot of slack here because he certainly did more than I did. He was
exactly. That's a good example, and that's why I think I gave Walz a break on this because I've never been in the service and I've never had to rely on each other, other people with my life like they have.
Well, there's a Minnesotan who was in the unit with him, a guy named Thomas Behrens.
Yep.
And he was deployed to Iraq in place of Walz.
Yep. Yes.
In early do we need to go through this?
No, but I think we should acknowledge it on the air publicly, what we've been kind of thinking about off the air.
Well, what we can acknowledge publicly is that, yes, there is contention among the people Walz knew and served with about the story Walz has been telling.
Yeah, and I'm saying rightfully so, and I respect that and I understand it. Yeah, absolutely.
There are a couple also who served with him, though, that are on the opposite side. So it's just like America right now.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Well, then I rest my case. We don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know what's been happening behind the scenes. If you start with the visit of the Texas Rangers to the White House and realize they had to, put a tie on this poor guy and get him out on stage and hope he got through it. And you mean to tell me he's the guy who's getting the presidential daily briefing every day? He can't be. That doesn't make sense. Somebody is running this country. Somebody. Or as Kenny would suggest, some staff is running this country.